Hello, everybody, and welcome to Jojo Runs for Congress, where we will be talking to our antagonistic adventurer.
Antagonistic adventurer? Where do you come up with these taglines?
It's just who you are. Today, we will be talking about how exactly you should communicate with people on the other side of issues as you.
You know, before we started this podcast, because he did tell me what the topic of this would be, we decided that we would do this in our pajamas, and I was just thinking to myself, you know, does that come off as unprofessional? And then I debated, should I put a dress on? Should I do my hair? Should I fix my lipstick? And I said, no. It's just one of those days.
You know, it's our podcast, and we'll do what we like.
We can wear whatever we want.
Thank you very much. Do you want to introduce our special guest host today?
Yes. Today our guest host is Yoshi.
Yoshi!
It's the big Yoshi, the one from the Nintendo store in New York City that I may or may not have snatched off the shelf when I saw this little kid looking at it, and I have been looking for Yoshi in that store for so many years. I'm sorry, child, if I scarred you.
No, you're not.
Because I was taller than you and
I think we have too many stuffed animals.
No such thing. At some point, we will have to cycle through them.
Yes, sadly. I think we'll move on to non-stuffed animals.
Yeah, so, it's our third episode.
It is our third episode.
And we have some technological updates coming in the future. We talked about putting a monitor on for the screen.
Yes, yes.
So we can actually have the questions up.
Yeah.
We can add some graphic visual content.
Expect exciting things in the future.
Yes, we are moving on up in life. Maybe we'll get some lights too.
What, you don't think the lamp is good enough?
I think the lamp makes me look good.
I think you look great, babe.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right.
Well, I guess let's jump right into it after 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell me. Well, first of all, what is your first reaction mentally? Maybe physically, I don't know. When someone does have a very strong opinion that's against what you feel on specifically political issues.
Hold on, let me think for a second of something that would make me feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what it is. So I usually have a physical reaction. My gut literally squeezes in on itself. Mm-hmm. And then I either feel nauseous, like throwing up or going to the bathroom, which I'm sure a lot of
strong reaction. Very strong reaction.
Especially if it's something that I find particularly heinous or a viewpoint that I cannot wrap my head around.
Right.
So that's my first reaction.
Okay.
So you want to know what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, like what goes through your head? How do you process that? Because I mean, as a mature adult, you obviously don't freak out and yell at them and get into a big argument
externally.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I mean. You're able to process it and work through it and have a decent conversation. Yeah, I know that about you.
Well, if I have learned one thing now being a pseudo-adult is that you have to be able to determine if the person you're speaking with is open to conversing or if they just want to be heard. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, people just want to be heard or they want someone to validate what they're thinking and saying, in which case, once you figure that out, and hopefully figure it out very quickly, you don't spend your time trying to convince them of what you think. Yeah. Obviously, it depends on the context and the situation. If we're debating policy, then I think my approach would be much different. But generally, I ask a lot of questions and just keep asking question after question because I'm not a confrontational person. I don't like confrontation for myself or with other people. And I don't like to make people feel uncomfortable. Right. Although one might argue that if someone were to say something that I completely disagree with and think that they're absolutely wrong, some people could say that it's a disservice to me and being an advocate by not pointing out that they're wrong. I guess it depends on the situation. But my instinct is never to really tell somebody that they're wrong unless they're looking for someone to help them make a decision. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the reason I really think that this is something I really wanted to talk about today was because, I mean, we are entering the holiday season, right? I mean, Thanksgiving is coming up.
It's just 2 days from date of recording. And as we move through the holidays, everyone's gonna be seeing family again. I'm sure families have a lot of clashing issues. Politics, it seems to inevitably always be brought up when family gets together, at least in my family. So a lot of people are gonna have to deal with this, right? They're gonna have to deal with being around people who feel very, very opposite to them, and it might be good for them to just get another perspective on how they should deal with that.
Somebody taught me this, and I don't know who it is, but it could have been my favorite tactic is to think about the perspective that the person is taking, specifically how they grew up, where they grew up, and try to understand why they think and feel the way that they do. Even when inside, like, there's a monster inside of your gut wanting to punch that person. Because the reality is, we shape our opinions based on our experiences.
Okay.
So it's very possible I could meet a billionaire who was born into money, who had everything basically laid out for them, and we will never see common ground because we just lived different lives. And that's okay. What's not okay is when people are so caught up in how they feel that they can't even start to push the boundaries of their reality to try to understand other people's perspectives and their realities.
Okay.
And I think that's an especially heinous crime if you're a public servant, or in Congress or in politics, because while you are representing in certain people's case right now, they're only their base and not necessarily their district, you are working on an national platform. And to an extent, you should be able to take the perspectives of people that have the complete opposite opinion of you and figure out what you have in common.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we seem to live in very, very divided times, right? I mean...
Fact.
Like, not even at the actual, political, legislative level. I mean, our Congress and our politicians are extremely split along partisan lines, Democrat versus Republican. But it seems like with the rise of social media and people's rhetoric getting more and more extreme, that has really, really seeped into, how the average American speaks with each other and deals with each other, particularly online, where it can get extremely toxic because you're able to hide behind that screen, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot harder to talk to someone like that in person, just because of that physical interaction.
Yeah. Especially when you remove the human element, you forget that who you're talking to is human.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're venting and talking to your journal privately, and it just happens to respond back to you. Yeah, because
it's like if you're online and you're having an argument with someone, it's like you just turn the screen off and it's like it's gone. It's gone. Yeah. That person is gone. I don't need to worry about.
I'm breaking up with you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Just a side note here: Jamie is very active on the online social media Twitterverse. I am not very intentionally. But you also. So I'm a non-confrontational person. If I'm in a room full of people and they're talking about something I don't like and nobody asks for my opinion, I don't give it. But you're different.
Yeah.
I would say you're the opposite.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I feel like I want my voice to be heard.
Or you want to win.
Yeah, and yes, I want to win the conversations. If I'm engaged in...
Winning isn't everything.
Well, that's what you think. Look, I'm one of 6. It's important to me.
That's true. Oh, you are the 5th in a line of 6 children. Yes. So yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if there's someone in my even if I don't know them, or if I know them, if they're saying something that I really don't agree with, I mean, I'm not scared to speak up. I mean, why should I be? I mean, I feel my ways. I try not to get very argumentative with people in person. Online it's hard to sometimes not, but in person I try to keep it more civil. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, I kind of enjoy it.
I know you do. But it's also a question of knowing who your audience is. It's one thing if you're a Thanksgiving family and you know that even if you disagree, just by the fact that you're family, you will by obligation smooth over your differences and get along. Yeah. I don't know if I can do that.
What?
I don't know if I could do that as easily.
Just
if I let my...
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
I prefer to just not accept that they feel the way they feel and just glaze over.
So then what would it take for you to speak out?
To speak out?
Because, like, if it's something small, like, no matter what it is, like, I'll speak up.
Yeah.
But, like, for you, it sounds like you're a little more hesitant. So what would it take for you to actually, like, speak up and speak your mind? How far would someone have to be going?
Oof. If they started saying something that was along the lines of being flat out racist, ignorant, I would start out by saying, oh, well, tell me why. Now I'm going to give away my secrets. Tell me why you feel that way. Or what, where do you, tell me more about how you feel.
See, I would trouble with that.
Well, that's how I feel out where to go with the conversation.
Yeah.
And then eventually, what would probably push my button is if it was a personal issue.
Okay.
For example, if I was in a room and people started talking about how immigrants are useless, they're all drunk.
Yeah, that's very close to your heart. I mean, your parents.
Yeah, I'd be like looking at them being like, first, number one, do you realize that I'm a brown person.
Yeah.
And
coffee with milk.
Yes, I'm brown, and my parents are immigrants too. And I just look at them, and I don't know if I'd be able to hold my tongue. I would never lash out.
I wouldn't blame you. I couldn't blame you for not holding your tongue. Personally, yeah, like if people said some stuff that I found very heinous, like the stuff you said, I would not be able to be as civil as you. I would get very upset.
Yeah.
I don't think I would yell unless it got very heated, but I would not be as kind, and I certainly wouldn't be asking them, oh, why do you feel that way? I would probably be like, you're ignorant.
Yeah, but my reason for not just calling people stupid and ignorant is because when you say that, people get defensive. I
know they do, but like, I don't know. I guess I just I'm too emotional. I get way too emotional.
Are you? I feel like you're a rock.
About these things, I'm too emotional.
That's true. Well, okay, let's workshop this for a second. Let's just say I was in a room and I was a woman who had had an abortion for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, somebody says, "Oh, women who have abortions are horrible people. They deserve to go to hell."
Yeah.
What would I do? What would I say? I guess you could pull it back to being like people that are not, whose parents aren't born in this country, because that's real. It's more personal for me. Don't deserve to be here, and they're not worth anything. I don't think I'd be able to. Is it bad if I wouldn't automatically just like say something?
I don't know.
It depends. If it was a family situation, I might have like a huge sigh. I actually would just remove myself from the room. Right. That's normally what I do. But if it was a political situation, I probably would start being like, why do you think that is?
It's interesting to me.
And I would say, knowing me, knowing me, like how do you feel about it? Looking at me and saying that, how does that? Yeah.
So you would try to like, you would want to like inject the human element to them. You would want them to face what they're saying very directly, and like own up to it, because it's like what they're saying affects real human people.
Yes, if it's a leader, if I'm in a situation where I'm in a room full of leaders, you can't be a good leader without recognizing that people are human and everything you say is affecting humans, and human nature always wins. Yeah. So I think I would be able to call them out on it, because by nature of their job, you're supposed to be able to recognize that people are human. And if you're saying things that don't acknowledge people as human, now I'm getting fired up about this. I guess, okay, what I'm trying to say is that like family situations where there are long-term relationships where it's more than just you. For example, if it was me or you at each other's family parties, I wouldn't choose to say anything. I would just remove myself from the room. But if it's advocating for somebody that's not immediately in my family, I would be able to say something, because at that point it becomes like a job. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Yeah.
No, because I guess I can see you mean like you don't want to muddle your relationships with family.
Yeah. No, because it's not just me. It's you, me, our.
Hey, if whatever. My family says anything silly, you don't have to be scared to speak up. I don't care.
No, I just choose not to say anything and remove myself from the conversation.
That's fair.
Although it may be different if it was something about like my children or something that was really personal, then I might, like, if someone were to
What?
Well, it's like when someone says, why did you only become just a nurse? That hurts.
Oh, that
hurts. But then, I think a lot of people don't understand what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a lot of ignorance as to what nurses actually do.
Yeah, so I just choose to not. I don't know, it's kind of funny because nurses it has historically been a predominantly female profession, and we kind of just choose to not stand up for ourselves, which kind of makes me be like, no, we should. But at the same time, is that conducive to helping patient care? I don't know. So, now it's really starting to get to me.
Okay, well, I want to do our elevator pitch.
Elevator already? Look
at the time.
In? Oh God. You did not. Okay, he did not tell me what this question is.
But this is a good one.
I don't know.
This is a good one. So here's the pitch.
I'm afraid of it. Okay.
Here's the pitch.
Wait, let me breathe. Okay, go.
Okay, so you are in a conversation with somebody. You've been disagreeing with them for some time, right? It's gotten slightly heated, but nothing too crazy. And you can see that neither of you is going to back down. Neither of you is going to cede any ground.
Yeah. How
do you peacefully extricate yourself from that situation?
What would I say?
Exactly, yeah. Yes.
I would say...
Wait, no.
Oh.
It's the elevator pitch.
Oh, okay. It's not really an elevator pitch, though. I'm not selling anything.
I don't care.
Okay.
It's the elevator pitch.
Elevator statement. Go.
Yes. Ready, and go.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your feelings. I really want to understand your perspective and where you're coming from. Unfortunately, I'm having such a hard time seeing it and understanding it, but, what you're saying is still valid to me, despite the fact that we can't agree.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's good, right? Like, you don't cede your ground. You don't say anyone is right or wrong, even if you are right.
You gotta pick your battles.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's really no point if someone is not like there's a common saying that like you cannot logic someone out of a stance they did not logic themselves into. Mm-hmm. So like if someone is coming from a place of just pure nonsense that they ridiculous things they saw online or heard on Fox News, then yeah.
You're putting partisanship into my podcast.
I am not.
Ugh.
I am not.
You're breaking the rules of my calm, cool, collected, inclusive environment.
I'm sorry.
Whatever comes out, the words that come out of my husband's mouth are solely
They're
his.
solely my stances.
I take no responsibility for what you say.
Okay, that's fair. But yeah. So do you have anything else you want to say on this subject?
My goal at the end in these podcasts is I don't want you to be able to label me with any particular political thing. Mm-hmm. If I just want you to listen to what I'm saying. So, and that's how I'm going to continue to speak, as though the audience I'm talking to is from all walks of life, which means that being sensitive and empathetic and considerate and compassionate and kind enough to recognize that, because something that is missing for me in this current political climate is the fact that words matter a lot.
Yeah.
And you can't just say things on Twitter and expect them to not hurt anybody. So, yeah, that's how I'm going to approach all of my statements and everything I say. Doesn't mean I don't... Watch me lose my shit the next time we have...
Yeah, you're going to get so fired up in the next episode. Well, I mean, I hope you don't stay too reserved during these conversations. I mean, the people want to hear the true, honest you.
You haven't asked me my opinion on anything.
I didn't say that, but I'm just saying.
This is me.
I
know you want me to be a big... I guess the question is, am I good enough for everybody if I'm not, like, waving a red flag, being like...
I don't think you need to be waving any sort of red flag, but I think you do need to...
I guess people want to know,
people want
can
strong
I
stances.
Stand up? Yeah. Can I stand up for things when the situation...
That's really, I mean, that's a good way to boil down this conversation. Like, when it comes down to it, when someone is disagreeing with you, will you be able to tell them, I think you are wrong? Because you might have to do that.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the context. I mean, the only scenario where I can imagine I would have to do that is if I'm debating policy in which I know and feel that the other person has the wrong information.
Right.
But in terms of like everyday conversation, I choose not to involve myself in that kind of stress because If I let myself feel all the emotions as an empath, I would probably be on the floor in a muddled, melted mess.
That's true.
That's why I have to censor where I choose to put my emotion and channel it. Because if I'm fighting somebody in a courtroom, I have a reason and like a passionate thing to tie all of my emotion to, so I don't get sucked into it personally, because it starts to affect me like physically and emotionally. Yeah. So I think it's something I just learned from nursing, because you see a lot of crazy shit that you can't talk about, and scenarios you never thought you'd be involved in, and you have to learn when to shut it down and when to turn it on. Sure.
All right. I think that's probably good for this episode.
Are you satisfied? Was I concise enough?
I think this was a very concise one. I think we covered. You don't think so?
I have no idea.
I think we covered a lot of ground.
I just drank coffee at like 10 o'clock at night, so my brain feels very strange.
But yes, thank you everybody for joining us on this episode of Jojo Runs for Congress. If you want to learn more about the campaign or donate or volunteer, you can visit the website at
Mantilla2020.com.
Or if you want to reach out to us on social media or follow a little more closely on Joanne's day-to-day adventures, you can go to...
Twitter is at Mantilla Joanne, and Instagram is at Jojo Mantilla.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to us on Twitter. If you have any interesting stories about times you've disagreed with people, I think that'd be fun to hear about. You can tell us that on Twitter too. That'd be cool.
Even tell me things you disagree with me.
Yeah, I'll do it if you disagree with us. Like whatever. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and you will hear from us soon. Bye bye.
What a campaign.